Asta's Master Devil Union mode, it has big slapped Lucifero, the king of hell. People in our community started to ask us, how powerful has Asta become? Will he finally achieve his dream, which is of course to become the Wizard King and marry Sister Lily?
Pause.
Hey, what about Noel?
That's a side piece thing.
Mimosa? Rebecca?
What are you talking about? 4 wives, isn't it? Nah, seriously, I'm kidding. I shipped the harem for Asta, nothing more, nothing less.
We don't care. We don't care.
The point I'm making is that Asta has become powerful enough to achieve his dream and much more. I'll be using basic power scaling to explain how strong Master Devil Union is, because as of right now, a lot of people that don't have the notification bell on, they cannot fathom how Asta has broke the Black Clover scaling system. Keep in mind that Asta with his imperfect Devil Union was already scaling higher than all of the captains. This includes the fused Supreme Devils, and he was already Wizard King level. So you can probably realize, what does that make his Master Devil Union mode? How strong is that? Well, let's begin to answer that question. Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. Let's begin with the basics. What exactly is Devil Union and how was it perfected? Essentially, Union is when a devil host taps into their devil's full strength and absorbs it into their body, allowing them to contain and manage the power whilst greatly expanding their own magic ability. Asta and Liebe are currently the only characters in the entire Black Clover story to achieve a perfect version of this. The reason they could do so is due to their equally binding contract. As Narc mentioned, he has never seen anyone do this before, and when he witnessed it for the first time, he stated, "Is this a true Devil Union?" As a result, Asta and Liebe are built different, mate. Their feelings and objectives are synchronized with one another. This is because their bond shares a relation with Asta's mother Licita and also Lucifero. Asta is Licita's biological son, who she had to abandon at birth because of her magic power and life force absorption. Her body passively absorbed the magic power and life force from other people and creatures near her. However, despite Asta being in her womb for 9 months, he was born healthy, and so she didn't want to risk it any further, leading Licita to leave Asta at the church. As Licita puts it herself, through sheer fate or destiny, the following day Liebe came into her life after being launched out of hell. Due to him being magicless, Licita was able to adopt him and give him the love she wished she could deliver to Asta. The two grew close to each other until Lucifero tried to possess Liebe's body, killing Licita in the process. Liebe was trapped into Lich's 5-leaf grimoire by Licita, and that's where he spent the rest of his life, manifesting his desire to defeat Lucifero. This love and bonds created the power of anti-magic, as chapter 177 stated that through desire, feelings and training, one can manifest new magic. Liebe unlocked the most broken Hack's power whilst casually cussing out devils for 15 years. Both Liebe and Asta suffered similar struggles in life. The Devil Society saw Liebe as a monolith good for nothing, being the lowest of rank in hell, and this is the same way the human society saw Asta. During their battle with Lucifero, Asta learned the truth about his mother and who Liebe truly was, his brother. Because of their feelings and love now being harmonized, they perfected Devil Union and were able to level up their power to unforeseen heights. Now let's begin scaling the different categories between imperfect and perfect Devil Union. This will help you understand the gap between these two transformations. We will cover the strength, speed, durability and magic power, as many of us can argue that Asta's power level quadrupled against Lucifero. Oh, by the way, if you missed the basics of every power that Asta possesses, which I explained here, make sure to watch it then come back, otherwise you won't be on the same page as the rest of the community. Asta's power scaling is completely busted. No one stands a chance against Lucifero and his overwhelming gravity except for him. Remember when Nacht said he was going absolutely insane in his mind just from the mere presence of Nama and Lilith? Well, Asta doesn't get to feel this pressure, and that gives him even more advantage compared to others. Lucifero at 50% of his original state is so powerful that his passive gravity and presence ability stops all fodder characters from even standing up, seen in chapter 317. If we look further on, in chapter 318, Vanessa stated that Lucifero's gravity is crushing their bones to bits just by him getting closer. Even Andremelech was shocked that Asta can even move in his magic, because it should be practically impossible. Essentially, if you are not at least a captain, you won't even be able to move. But even if I say that, the captains themselves admitted in chapter 319 that they had a buff from Ril's Valhalla spell. Otherwise, even them, they wouldn't be able to fight and help too. This means that Asta already scales higher than all the captains in terms of speed, durability, and strength in his imperfect Devil Union form. But wait, let's take this even further and beyond. One of the greatest changes that Asta experienced in Master Devil Union mode is his speed. During their first encounter in chapter 317, Asta without his union couldn't even react before Lucifero teleported to him. As we have seen with Dante, gravity magic allows the user to decrease their weight and also distort space. This allows for a multitude of ways to travel faster than anyone else. It was a huge benefit for Lucifero when he was battling the Magic Knight captains all alone, slapping each one of them without even taking a hit. They couldn't even keep up with his speed, and he basically made all of them realize their inferiority, forcing them to kneel before him. It is very clear to the community that Lucifero is the strongest character in the entire series so far. Before he acknowledged humans and was even declared to be serious in chapter 324, he already scaled higher than all the captains combined. Lucifero makes every single villain before him look like a baby, because the captain stood a chance even against the strongest of opponents before him, such as the ancient royal demon that died by the hands of Sisgolion. The previous Heart Queen said Lucifero's manifestation on Earth would bring about the extinction of 90% of the population. So an easy way to scale imperfect Devil Union speed would be using Nama and Lilith's fusion. Asta couldn't keep up with their speed, and that was the only thing that was holding him back. He needed Nacht's help to slow them down so that they are open to his attack. Now, according to the story, Nama and Lilith are the 10th and 9th supreme devils, scaling multiple times beneath Lucifero, who has the #1 spot with gravity that supports his movements rather than only flying like them. Furthermore, in Imperfect Devil Union, Asta needed the captains to distract Lucifero to land an attack. His speed was not good enough to match his reaction times. When they first met, he literally caught his sword with his bare hands, and in chapter 319, the captains created an opening specifically for Asta to catch him off guard, but the King of Hell simply dodged it with ease. However, in contrast, when Master Devil Union was achieved, in chapter 328, Asta had increased his speed to the point where he was like a man hyper on gamer subs, fam. By the way, link in the description and pin comment if you want to buy Gamer Subs. It's a really good drink that helps you be active and concentrated on your work or workouts. Anyway, the point I'm making is that a distraction or help wasn't even needed from others this time round. To put this into perspective of how much faster Asta has gotten now, we can look back at the fight against Dante in chapter 259. Back then, in a similar time frame of 3 to 5 seconds, Asta managed to catch Yami's sword and land a strike. Now that's great, right? Well, now in his Master Devil Union, Lucifero actually made him trip up using gravity, and with only 5 seconds remaining, he was still able to get up, blitz him, and cut him multiple times. Not just one slash. This time, Asta could cut off his horns, arms, and slice his body up twice. We have seen from chapter 328 that Asta moves so quickly now that he leaves behind after images. This means that he moves faster than the brain can understand. However, this isn't the first time Asta has done this. In episode 1, he literally traveled faster than the captains could register. Now, I'm gonna use my degree in anime bullshit science so we can break this down for you. For example, to become invisible to the eye, you would have to travel so quickly that the brain would not have the time to process any light reflected off it. Therefore, to become invisible, a ball would have to travel 70 meters in 1/250th of a second. That's a speed of 38,146 miles per hour, meaning the ball would be traveling far faster than the speed of sound. Bear in mind, by the way, that's just for the human brain. Asta may have traveled even faster to outspeed a devil brain. It is very clear that Asta has increased his speed above everyone else, to the point where he can finally land attacks when no one else could without help. Asta can go beyond the speed of captains even before the time skip. We know this by taking a look at chapter 146. He moved after Sisgolion launched her attack, and he still managed to travel faster than it and hit Raya before any of her attacks hit him, which already puts him above captain level in terms of speed before even any of the power-ups during the Elf arc in his base form. If we look at chapter 50, Yami confirms that Patry is light speed. This was just the human Patry too. In chapter 198, he got his Dark Elf transformation, which is confirmed to be faster and stronger than the version that killed Julius Novachrono, the freaking Wizard King. However, Nozel was seen catching up with Dark Patry, whereas Julius struggled against the human version because, you know, he wanted to die against that dude to save William. Fast forward to the Lucifero fight, and Nozel was made his bitch on multiple occasions. He was absolutely speed blitzed before Nozel could even react. Now obviously we can argue the aspect of different magic types and attributes playing a role in the power scaling of a character, as Noel put it pretty clear against Patry that his magic type works well against him and different magic types scale differently to each other. However, the point still stands. Like we already said, all the captains combined can't even cast spells, let alone react to Lucifer's speed. But Asta, on the other hand, is now blitzing Lucifer. So by using basic power scaling, Asta should be way faster than the speed of light by now.
Now, what Adil mentioned is great. I mean, travelling at insane speeds is all cool, but if you can get caught off guard in one shot, then it's pretty pointless. Luckily for Asta though, he's got that box ticked too. Even way before Devil Union, and when he was still relying on simply just his base Black Asta form, Asta took an attack from Licht in episode 100 of the Black Clover anime and still got back up to continue fighting alongside Yuno. However, the story has leveled up tenfold since then. Now, against Lucifero, it was stated that a single hit from him would kill you, according to Yuno in chapter 322, before Lucifero decided to become serious in his new transformation. Therefore, Asta has the best feats in terms of durability against Lucifero in comparison to any other character. This is even before his mastered Devil Union. When they first met in chapter 318, Lucifero used his gravity magic from a great height to slam an untransformed Asta into the ground like he did with the others. But this didn't actually affect Asta. He stood up on two legs whilst the ground became a crater around him and a mini earthquake occurred from the sheer force. Now keep in mind, like I said, Yuno said that one punch would kill any of them, but Asta tanked 4 heavy attacks before he was at death's door in comparison to this statement. The first one occurred when Lucifer blitzed Asta and punched him only once without him having time to react. Asta said that this one punch did so much damage that it felt like he couldn't move anymore and that his eyes wouldn't focus. And in chapter 320, Asta took a full strength gravity slam from an angered Lucifero in his imperfect Devil Union that left him completely immobilized to the point that Mimosa couldn't even heal his wounds properly. But you know, remember guys, this is Black Clover at the end of the day, so you know, you just gotta surpass your limits, you know, it's all about that madada, as Asta would so eloquently put it himself. Anyway, he got back up and walked straight back into battle covered in blood and bruises. He activated his Devil Union again, but took a kick straight to the knee and it broke instantly. Now, if you want to argue that it didn't actually break because his leg was perfectly fine in the next chapter, then that either diminishes Lucifer's character in terms of writing since he isn't that powerful, or on the flip side, we have to look at it and scale Asta even higher in durability. You see, everything changed when Asta mastered Devil Union. Asta's shattered leg healed and he can now tank punch after punch after punch without even having to flinch. And that's if he hasn't caught Lucifero's fist mid-punch first. The thing is though, Asta doesn't even really have to worry about tanking hits from Lucifer anymore anyway. In chapter 327, Asta revealed a brand new ability. Before, you see, he could only nullify another's magic using anti-magic by using the power of his swords. Thanks to Perfect Devil Union though, he can now fully manifest anti-magic anywhere in his body, meaning that he himself is now the weapon. Well, this basically just makes him indestructible at this point, as magic is now pointless before him in this form. No matter how many punches Lucifero tries to land, thanks to Asta's buff as hell body, he can take it as all the magic is dissipated upon contact with it. And also, like I said, that's if he doesn't counter your attack first. We've seen on multiple occasions that Asta has the reaction speed to catch Lucifero's punches and also react quick enough to counter him with a clean sword strike. This ability allows Asta to focus on the fight and just kill the opponent. If you compare it to his imperfect Devil Union, look no further than against Namor and Lilith, where he had used a similar power that dispels all the magic in the surrounding area. He had to whip out his third sword, Demon Destroyer, that has the ability Casualty Break, but now he doesn't even need to do that. It's his entire body and anything he touches that does the work for him. However, you can be as quick and durable as you like, but this is anime. If you don't hit hard, then it don't mean shit. That being said though, that's something that Asta's pretty much a pro in. Asta has trained from a young age to create the perfect physical body as a means for him to try and make up for his lack of magic. I mean, like, literally, Asta is genuinely gym goals. But anyway, this has accumulated in allowing him to do 1,000 single-handed handstand push-ups, swing heavy-ass swords around single-handedly, and punch holes in rock walls without even injuring himself. This puts Asta above nearly the entire cast of Black Clover, excluding probably Yami. And when we tie this in with what we've mentioned before regarding Asta's body now acting as the hub of his anti-magic power, this means that when Asta is fighting in Mastered Devil Union, the victor ultimately comes down to whoever is more physically fit. And with the way that society in Black Clover is, means that because magic is so heavily relied on, people don't usually bother furthering themselves physically. This automatically puts Asta at a huge advantage. We've seen Asta perform higher feats than all of the Magic Knight captains at this point and even surpassed Julius. We know this from the ancient demon attack on the Clover Kingdom. Siscolion, the strongest amongst the captains, had to rely on her brand new Hellfire spell to stand a chance, a spell which greatly increases her power with each passing second. Knowing that Asta's Devil Union has a 30-minute cooldown, we can presume that she had been fighting for that long. Even Julius risked it all to fight by transforming himself into an adult to try protect his kingdom. All Magic Knights, all captains that were present tried to do something against this demon but could only make it flinch. However, then came Asta. He speed blitzed the demon in a single clean slice, no problemo. Whereas the others, like we said, needed like 30 minutes to fight. Asta, on the other hand, only needed 30 seconds. This means Siscolion took 60 times longer to beat the same opponent. During Asta's first encounter with Lucifero, Asta couldn't even land the slightest tiniest little bit of damage on him. Asta's full-powered Devil Union sword swing was caught effortlessly with a single hand, only causing the tiniest of cuts on Lucifero, which only goes to show the insane boost in strength once we look at what Asta is capable of doing now with his perfect Devil Union. Lucifero, of course, despite only being 50% manifested, scales as the strongest character in the entire series easily. He single-handedly dismantled all of the Magic Knight captains, and even Asta could sense his overwhelming magic ability. This is huge because Asta, being magicless, could never really fully understand the magic capacity of his opponents. Even Nama and Lilith, for example, whose magic power alone made Nact sweat with fear, wasn't enough to make Asta realize it. However, with Lucifero on the other hand, Asta could not actually sense it, but it made him scared. That means that Lucifer's magic presence alone is more than both Nama and Lilith combined. Despite all of this, Asta has now been shown to go from causing slight grazes to chopping off limbs with ease in a single strike from his katana. In his imperfect Devil Union, Asta could dispel spells with the third sword, but as we described earlier, he literally can manifest anti-magic anywhere in his body now, so he doesn't even have to do that anymore. We saw in chapter 325 that Asta was able to cause a disruption to the magic in the area and cause an interference as stated by Nact, which made his kid's playground ability useless. And let's not even forget his Equinox spell, which is inspired by Yami. This thing is busted. During his training with Nact in chapter 273, Asta used it and managed to undo Nact's Devil Union whilst intentionally missing him, sparing Nact's life. This is one of the spell's greatest abilities. It purposely avoids cutting those that it doesn't want to. This was the moment that Nact recognized that Asta will be the strongest character. And in chapter 315, we witnessed everyone on the battlefield do all that they could to try and stop Lucifero's vessel cocoon from manifesting, yet it was no use. But of course, Asta on the other hand had a different idea. He used his Equinox spell from long range to instantly cut Lucifer's cocoon and also free Yami and William simultaneously. This meant that Lucifero could only manifest at 50%. But he's now mastered Devil Union. Therefore, I think it's safe to assume that this attack is most likely twice as strong now at a complete minimum. Now, we all know that at some point in the story of Black Clover, Asta is probably going to go and visit Yami's homeland of the Hino country. Here, he'll be able to learn how to use his katana better and level up his new spells. Now, if you guys want to know more about Yami's Hino country, then check out the video on your screen right now. It's a pretty good one. I think you're going to enjoy it.